All right, back on the Young Turks. Now we're going to talk to Lisa Miller of Newsweek about the topic we were just discussing, which is the Vatican scandals, yet again, about pedophilia. Lisa, welcome back to the Young Turks.
Thanks. Nice to be here.
Great to have you. So what are the different scandals, and how are they connected to the Pope? There's one in Milwaukee, there's some in Europe. Tell me what they are and how they lead to Ratzinger.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you what I know from reading the papers, right, because, that's what I know. But there was a priest in Wisconsin who was abusing deaf children, and he basically asked Ratzinger for mercy, and the New York Times has a memo that from the priest to Ratzinger when he was in the Curia, not yet Pope, saying, this bad stuff is happening to me. I'm being convicted of these. I'm being tried for these crimes, but please don't defrock me. I want to live out my life as a priest. And apparently, Ratzinger agreed, although that memo doesn't exist because he did live out his life as a priest. So that's what's happening. That's what happened in Wisconsin. What happened in Germany is that there was a priest who was moved from parish to parish, as just like what happened in Boston. He abused children. He was taken out for remediation, for therapy. He went back into a parish where he continued to abuse children. And this was during the time when Ratzinger was the Archbishop of Munich. So he would have had reason to know about this priest. Now, what the Vatican says is at that moment in time, people thought that you could remediate sex abusers, and so after some therapy, they would be better, and then they would be well enough to go and work with children again.
Okay, so when they did the therapy for the guy in Munich or in Germany, did that wind up working?
No, he went back into another parish and abused more children.
So Ratzinger says, all right, give him a little therapy, he'll slap on the wrist and put him back in. They put him back in and he abuses more kids.
Right.
Okay. Now, has Ratzinger ever said, my bad?
He has never directly said, the buck stops here. He has expressed, great shame on behalf of the church. He has said that he's spending this week, which is Holy Week, in penance and humiliation. He has told the bishops in all the dioceses, especially in Ireland, that they need to do, in Ireland, there were decades and decades of abuse, and the number of kids is 15,000 kids who were abused at the hands of priests and some nuns in Ireland. So that's just an overwhelming number.
How many? 15,000?
15,000 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, do some penance. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
Spend a week in humiliation, and everything will be just fine.
Right. What's interesting to me is how completely unable he and his spokespeople are, his surrogates are, of convincing the world of their grief and shame, if it's genuine. We don't know their heart, but they can't get any traction with the Western public. They cannot convince people that they are really sorry.
Oh, because they're not. They've been covering it up the whole time. Anybody with a brain can see that. I mean, because they give absolute power over these kids to these priests, and then they say don't have sex. Hey, good luck. I mean, the whole system's set up for pedophilia.
I agree that it's a really terrible situation, and it seems clear to me that there's this kind of institutional looking the other way from really bad stuff for, lots and lots and lots and lots of years.
So
and until everybody in the hierarchy owns up to that, they're going to have a really dissatisfied, flock.
Now, to give you a sense of the scope, I mean, we talked about the 15,000 kids in Ireland, but for the Pope himself, that case in Wisconsin alone, that guy abused 200 kids.
Right.
Okay.
He was a
200
really
kids.
bad guy.
And at the end, he says to the guy, all right, well, you have to only go to your own church and you can't go to other churches.
I agree that it's really bad. And I think one of the problems with this whole story culturally is that what looks like a reward to us on the outside looks like a punishment to them on the inside. And so the best example of this is Cardinal Bernard Law, who was the Cardinal of Boston, right? And he basically condoned the moving around of abusing priests from parish to parish. So one parent would complain and he'd move the priest to another parish, and then another parent would complain and he'd, swear the kids secretly and move the priest to another parish. It was really bad. And he resigned under pressure, not from the Vatican, but from the priests who worked for him, who started signing. They all signed a letter, hundreds of them, saying, we can't work for you. This is really bad. And so he was moved to Rome, where he's the head of the Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore, which is a big, fancy church in Rome. And for us, we think, well, that's not punishment. He's living in a big fancy apartment. He's got a curia job. He gets to help elect the next pope. He's still a, working, functioning member of the Vatican hierarchy. From the inside, when you talk to scholars and bishops and people, they look at that as a humiliating demotion. So
wow.
There's like a through the looking glass aspect to this, where they don't get us and we don't get them in the most profound and basic ways.
Well, we're talking to Lisa Miller Music. Lisa, look, part of it is, they get it. It's just, they know that this has been going on forever in the church. So they're just trying to cover it up. It's not like they're like, wow, I didn't see this coming. I think the 2001 case is the best case. When Ratzinger, the current pope, was in charge of the Holy Office in 2001. Tell me a little bit about, and it's in your article, about how he kept things secret and what was the equivalent punishment that people got.
Right. So obviously, when somebody like Ratzinger is writing documents about punishments for sex abuse, they know that sex abuse is going on, right? They wouldn't have to react to something unless it was a problem. And what he said in this document was that the punishment for sex abusers would be decided by the Pope's office alone and in secret. So secrecy and privacy and not marring the reputation of the church was foremost in his mind. And that having sex with a minor, somebody under 18, was analogous to throwing out hosts' communion wafers in the trash.
No, that's it. Come on. You want to? It's like they're spitting in your eye. It's, oh yeah. If you had sex with a kid, well, it's about the same as throwing out the communion in the trash. Come on. Now, it's a joke. They're laughing at us. They're thinking, well, let's keep this secret as long as possible, and at the next opportunity when people aren't looking, let's do it again.
I really actually think it's different. I think they really don't get it. I think they come from a culture of, not living among humans the way we live among humans. And so, sex is forbidden to them. Every kind of sex is forbidden to them. I am not defending them. I'm just trying to talk about how they live on another planet. And
no, they live on a planet where they're not supposed to be questioned. That's the problem. The problem is the true religion in the first place, okay? Where they say, oh no, like the Pope talks to God. Yeah, okay? And then the priests should be listened to without questioning them. And so on that planet, if you lose a little bit of power, wow, that's a big punishment. Final one. Let's go to, let's see if I can pronounce this guy's name. Probably not. The Marcio Maceo?
Oh, yeah. That guy was really bad.
Okay. Tell me what he did and then what his punishment was.
That guy, he had several children out of wedlock, which is not in the story. And he allegedly drugged boys so that he could have sex with them while they were unconscious. He was the founder of a very fast-growing and popular, very conservative group.
Of course.
Called the Legionnaires of Christ.
Yeah.
And Benedict actually disciplined him. He was
good.
a great favorite of the previous Pope, John Paul II. And Benedict actually disciplined him and made him live out his life in sort of penance and prayer.
Wow.
But he wasn't defrocked, and He's still got his pension and all of that. So
if drugging and raping boys doesn't get you defrocked, what the hell does?
No, I mean it's unspeakable. What has happened to children at the hands of people who were supposed to be protecting them is unspeakable. And the fact that it's been happening over generations to clearly thousands of children, and we don't know about other countries, we don't know about Africa and Indonesia and Asia, and I mean there are whole parts of the world we don't know anything about yet in terms of this. The scope of this is really magnificent, and I think we're going to look back on this as a before and after moment for the church. It's going to be a really hard time going forward.
You know what I think is the minor miracle? That anyone believes these clowns. Okay? That anyone says, oh, no, yeah, they're talking to God. Yeah, they got this thing figured out. Of course, again, the most conservative guy is the most perverted, guy that commits the worst crimes. And these guys claim that they're talking to God. Look, it happens in every religion. Don't take me wrong. And the Taliban had to issue an order saying, stop sleeping with young warriors. Because since, again, in that particular religion, in that particular culture, they're not supposed to question their leaders, so the leaders would take the young boys home. Mm-hmm. I mean, do we see a pattern here? Perhaps we shouldn't believe in nonsense religions that tell you that you shouldn't question your leaders because all they're going to do is drug you and take you home?
I definitely think a culture of hierarchy, a culture of secrecy, a culture of blind obedience to authority, a culture of insularity where, the insiders are on the inside and the outsiders are on the outside, that all makes for a really bad institution. I do also think that I know many, many Catholics who love their church and love being Catholic and are genuinely trying to figure out a way to stick with it in spite of all of this. And I think they deserve some compassion and some, they've got kids. They're trying to go to church and trust their parish priests, many of whom are really, really good guys and sisters doing really good work in remote parts of the world. So there's a way in which the devoted Catholics of the world have to figure out how to love their church in spite of all of this if they can. And this is a real challenge for them. This is no joke.
Lisa, to round up here, let me give an equal caveat. Obviously, as I said before, this isn't about Catholics. It's not your fault that the priest did this if you're a Catholic. And it's not all priests, obviously, right? And the problem is that the system is set up wrong. And the system is set up to create this exact kind of problem. And the system covered it up for all this time. And that's what's blowing up now in the Pope and the Church's face. And that's what they're not willing to deal with. And Lisa's got some great examples in this article called The Bad Shepherd. And you should check it out on Newsweek.com. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back.
Take care.